few points about the duties of estate trustees. Now, this, as you can see at the last line of the slide here, this is a non-exhaustive list. So typical lawyer caution here. This is a non-exhaustive list. So it covers most of the main duties, but every state is a little different. But these are the big things that you're going to be thinking of doing or ensuring you're doing if you're an estate trustee. So first, you have to follow the terms of the will. It's really that's your guiding light, your guiding principle. Just follow the will. But there is a general understanding and golden rule, if you want to call it that, that if all the interested parties in an estate agree, so if the estate trustees and the beneficiaries can all come to an agreement as to an alternate disposition or an alternate distribution of an estate, then that's okay. So sometimes you might have beneficiaries that would like to give a gift to a specific person or charity on behalf of the deceased, but the deceased, didn't have that gift or bequest in their will. As long as all the interested parties, all the parties affected are in agreement, you can do that. But otherwise, if there's no agreement, then the terms of the will be your guiding light. You're also going to be securing and consolidating the estate assets. And this is probably the reason why a probate application will be needed. You'll need to get a certificate of appointment of a estate trustee to allow the land registry office or to allow a bank or financial institution to give you the control to consolidate that estate asset or to realize the estate asset, to sell it, to transfer it into an estate account, whatever the case may be. The next task or duty is one that you'll probably be dealing with right at the start is the burial and the funeral arrangements. You are responsible for making decisions. Sometimes in wills there's some guidance in the wills of what the deceased wanted. Sometimes the deceased person will have done pre-planning, which is very, very helpful.
Mhm.
Now, the next task or duty is making sure that all valid estate debts and expenses are covered, are paid for. Those need to be all paid out before anyone can receive a cent as a beneficiary in the estate. They take priority. The next task is the one that will take the longest, um, and that is filing income tax returns. As an estate trustee, you are responsible for filing three different, possibly three different kinds of filing income tax returns. First, any past returns that the deceased failed to um, file on time. So, for example, if the deceased died in 2022 and they did not file their 2021 tax returns, it is now on the estate trustee to file the 2021 tax return. The terminal return, which is basically the return, the last tax return to be filed by the person as a living entity and not the estate. So that's the tax return of the year in death. And then the trust return. Now, what the trust return is, and there might be multiple trust returns depending on the how long the estate takes to properly administer. But the trust return is the year-to-year reporting to the government of whether or not any income has been earned in the estate. So those are the three kinds of income tax returns, and they take so much time in preparation, mostly because it takes CRA a longer time to process these returns because of the unique situation. And especially on the trust return end, what I'm finding is that there is a great delay right now in the estate, or sorry, in the CRA prioritizing those and getting those done quickly. Now, the next duty is a really important one for you to consider and know if you're going to be an estate trustee. You have to be open and upfront and transparent with the beneficiaries. Um, you know, properly administrating estates take time. I often say sometimes estates can take between a year or three to properly administer, and even longer if it's more complicated. And you have to deal with these beneficiaries with an even hand. You can't be showing preferential treatment to one beneficiary over another, or you should not be doing that. And piece of practical advice: providing regular updates to these beneficiaries can go a long way of giving them the peace of mind to know that okay, these things take time, but um, at least things are moving forward. Might not be quick at times, might be quick at times, but giving them updates, knowing where you're at, will go a long way to them worrying that nothing's getting done or that a ball has been dropped. And lastly, when when it's appropriate to do so, which is usually around the tail end of administrating an estate, you have to provide an accounting showing all the ins and outs of the estate and how, if you're telling the beneficiaries, here's the pot of money at the end that it can be split up pursuant to the wishes described in the will, how do we arrive at that amount of money? And were the other wishes in the will also completed? So providing an accounting is a big thing, and it can go from a court formalized accounting on more contentious or complicated estates to an informal accounting where presenting something that you've prepared yourself just to show the ins and outs, and answering any questions the beneficiaries might have about that accounting is important too. So those are the duties of an estate trustee, and that ends my talk today.